Hello, everyone, and welcome to One Liners, a series centered around key influencers and players in the performance marketing space. My name is Joey Liner, and I'm with Liner Connections, my consulting firm. I appreciate it if you could give me a like and subscribe to my YouTube page as I'm trying to continue to grow my subscriber base and content. Also my LinkedIn page. Today, I am very, very, very excited. I met my guest earlier this year we've known of each other, but I met
Which
her
is
at.
insane, right? That we just talked in January this year,
I know,
and I've known you since like 2008.
I know, I know, and it's cool that we got to sit next to each other, Gayla. So say hi, Gayla.
Hi.
I'm so pumped to have you on today. You got some really good energy, and you and I, you're right. Like we've been in the same space. It's a small ecosystem. I've known your name, and organically we just kind of sat next to each other and just started chatting. I think we hit it off really, really well, and I was like, man, I got to get her on my show because I want to share her story. You have an amazing story. I mean, really. So today I'd love to cover, your background, kind of where, how you grew up in education, what you're doing now, compliance, tech, some of the challenges women face today in the market, and and some of the shows that you're going to be attending the second half of the year. So got a lot to cover, my friend. And
Sounds
and
good.
and
I
of,
know. I talk
and
a
I,
lot, so you'll have to keep me on track.
oh, we're good. We're good. There's no timer. So well, cool. Let's jump in. So give everybody a little background about yourself and how you kind of got into the space.
All right. So way back in the day, I've always been in marketing, so I've done that for a long time. But way back in the day, I decided to just take a risk, make a move, and do this new thing called digital marketing. And so my first touch into marketing was when I actually went over to it was called the Sprint Mobile Media Network. I don't know if anyone remembers that. They sold to Nokia. But we were the guys, and of course there were way smarter guys than me developing it, but the people who created the platform to serve those banner ads on your cell phone.
Oh
And so,
wow.
yes, you can thank me for those weird Maxim and Pepsi banners that you had to like scroll through on those real old phones. So that was my first sort of digital marketing thing. And then got into aggregation, right? So did that with Greg Advertising, who I know you're familiar with.
Yes, of
And
course.
that is what led me to compliance. So just, yeah, that's how I got where I'm at.
And Kit and Greg, and I like to refer to, you're from Kansas City. I know
Mhm.
we've talked at dinner. You're a huge Chiefs fan, rightfully so. Don't rub that in for everybody. But you
I
guys
almost
just.
put the Chiefs banner on my
I love it. Well, hopefully this year my Ravens will give you somewhat more of a challenge with
see.
we'll see. But Kansas City has had it's really had a good success within performance marketing in mortgage and education, and insurance. There's a lot of big companies in Kansas City. Why do you think there's a draw to that specifically? It's just good
Well,
labor force, good people, good.
good, all of it, good people, good labor force. Cost of living, you can't beat it, right?
Yep.
And then just in general in our space, because I know we're probably going to talk about the shows I'm going to,
Yeah.
traveling. I mean, we're in the middle of the country, which you can call us the flyover, but everyone on each coast wants to be us when they have to fly 5 hours to the other coast. So that is Kansas City is excellent. And it's a great city. We're like
It
a
is.
huge foodie town and all that good stuff. So
Yes.
like a we just don't want now I'm podcasting it so everyone will know, but we don't move here. We don't want more people. We like it. So just stay where you're
I
at.
love it. I love it. I love it. I am a big barbecue fan, so I've had some amazing Jack's Stack. I've had some good barbecue in
So yeah,
Kansas
and
City. So
CQ is here. Has it been 2 weeks now? CQ came here. So we actually had an education conference in Kansas City, finally,
nice,
after like
nice.
all these years.
Well,
So
tell me more about education because it's weird, I haven't had anybody really on my show yet talk about education. I know it's not all of your business, but the education space. What's going on out there now? Is there high level? I know you probably know a lot. There's just but like what's a general theme or trends that you're seeing out there in the space right now?
so education is kind of still where it was. I mean, there's not a lot new. The things that change,
Yeah,
right? But they're just repeats because we've all been around. So like I wasn't around in the 90s when we first started having the regulation for profit and all that good stuff, but the regulations that came back around, they were starting to launch it in 2010. It was a little after that it happened, but the the same thing's happening again, right? So the good news is, so I'm super positive about education though, that the space is definitely going to survive in my opinion.
yeah,
But part of it is because the house flipped. So that's one big piece of it, the house flipping.
yeah.
There are just enough votes now to start letting the committee sort of walk back a lot of the stuff that the DOE is trying to do, right? So we have it's only by like 2 or 3 votes though.
Right,
But because of that, I'm not super worried that a bunch of stuff's going to happen that can't be walked back by Congress.
right.
Um, they ended up not doing that third party piece that came out where they were going to essentially call centers, everyone was going to have to apply to be a third party processor, servicer. And I'll
Yeah,
tell you, because I am listed and I did
yeah,
apply, I passed to get third party processing through the DOE. It is no small feat, and it was really hard to do. So I'm really glad that that did not go through because I was really nervous for everybody that was in the space.
yeah,
Um, so that's not happening. I will say though, like from my perspective, and not necessarily just there's a ton you could talk about in EDU, but
yeah,
um, the DOE is shopping again. So do you remember back when they were doing those videos of interviews at schools? Well,
yeah.
they're doing it again, but now it's remote. Um, so the big thing I wish that EDU would learn is that whatever happens is going to happen again in another decade or so, right? So just they should have processes in place to kind of be ready for that. But I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of schools learned that lesson on the first round, and I don't think they're doing a lot of Q&A or auditing of what gets said during those interviews that they have with prospective students.
Ah, yes, gotcha. So, and you say interviewing, there's a secret shopping. Is
Yeah.
that fair?
Yep.
Yeah. So they're going through the process, and it was bad, when the education market started falling out in the mid 2000, what 13, 14, whatever, 12, 13, whatever it was. I lived it at double positive. I know, like I said,
Yeah.
you and I, we hadn't worked directly together, but it was bad. And I think you're right. Like it's not going. People are obviously wanting to go to school online. It's convenient. It allows you to do other things, and so you may not want to be a fit for going to a campus and brick and mortar.
Yeah, I'm a
Um,
huge fan of trade schools. My oldest just
yeah.
graduated from one. It's
Oh wow.
like best thing he's ever done. He's now building fighter jet engines. So
What?
like when you think trade school, you think, I just
Yeah.
hate that the connotation is always that every program is medical assistant or
Stereotype.
medical biller coder,
Yeah.
but it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go to school for some really cool things with for-profit trade schools
Yeah, no, you're right. There's this stereotype because of what happened in
because of what happened.
concentration in
Yeah.
a certain
Mhm.
area. And so I think well, I'm glad you called that out because I think, there's obviously people that try to do things the right way and there's people that, businesses that want to. There was a lot of for-profit institutions that had an affiliation with, nonprofits. They thought that was a possible way or path for them to go, and that seems like it's still persistent, it's working. But I think we it's good that I love that I think you're at you're at the forefront of really trying to help do things the right way, and like you're a part of many different groups in our space that really help do, and we'll talk about that. That that you're really trying to help make sure that companies are doing things the right way, whether you're a buyer or a seller or a service provider. Um, Talk to me about your company and what you guys do. It's kind of intersection between tech and compliance, right? Like IntegriShield.
It is. And I got told yesterday that we shouldn't be saying the word compliance because it's not, they're like, that's not what you do. But it is because everyone has to deal with regulatory compliance, right? Every vertical we're in, and we're in a lot now. So like everyone has to deal with that. So really regulatory compliance is a piece of it. But I guess brand protection is maybe more so a better term. Just because the technology that we built, um, the uniqueness about it is really what was known is all anyone ever looked at. Because back in 2010, when I was trying to figure out how to keep my clients in business, I'm going home on the weekends. I'm reading rules and opinions. I'm doing all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm like, I got to hire 10 people to go out there and look at all these landing pages, right?
Yeah.
So, like, that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, it's really the technology that we had to end up creating had to go from what you knew and scraping, right? Because that's essentially all that was,
Right.
to how do you figure out what you don't know? And so that's what we have today. So that's why it definitely my goal is to keep all of my clients in business, right? So and
Yeah.
then keep industries. I guess my bigger goal is to keep industries in business because I'm a huge proponent and we offer our services at either no or reduced cost to a lot of industry associations that do SROs. Just because if the industry as a whole isn't going to make it, then my clients won't make it. So really it's getting everybody to sort of understand there's like a minimum threshold of risk mitigation that needs to occur in any online consumer facing business. So that's essentially what we do.
Yeah, I love how you evolved. Because I remember back when it was more human based, right? Like you had to pay all these folks to do it. Now it's cool that you've transformed more into, and your mission is great. Like I think, of course you want to, like, say, keep your clients in business and doing things the right way. And you had shared with me too when we were, talking through some topics for the show. You had said that um, compliance, and I know, like I said, you don't want to use that to describe your business, but
Oh no,
in
yeah.
general, to be able to make it more accessible to all businesses, and specifically small businesses are even more vulnerable for being, being not attacked, but just they're actually, the ones that, could be victims of folks coming after them, right? So um where what do you think has changed to make things more? Is it tech that's made it more available to all businesses, specifically small businesses?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of tech and innovation, right? People had to get creative. I know I had to
Yeah.
get creative. We've always had a custom process so that small businesses can work with us, right? Like if you don't have a budget or you don't even have a compliance department, like, yeah, I'll figure out a way to work with you. So we have super small businesses and then we have really, really big businesses.
Yeah.
But I think tech is really kind of evolving to a place where we can all get um, our price points down. And I say that with confidence. I realize like I've known and I've been planning this for a couple of years now. I've created a new SaaS and we're getting ready to launch it. And part of that is I want to cut compliance costs for companies way down. And part of it, obviously, I run a business. I want to make money. So I want more and more people to use me. But I think part of that is understanding too that there's got to be some kind of ROI, not just an expense when it comes to this, because everyone
Yeah.
used to look at us as an expense.
Hmm.
By looking at unknown and looking at traffic sources and trying to find an ROI for companies, not just compliance. We were
Yes.
able to kind of get over that hurdle. But the other hurdle now is it's got to be accessible. And like
Yeah.
we're in a recession, right? Or I guess we're not saying we are, but we are. And so you have to kind of take that in consideration. The
Yeah.
government is not going to slow down just because you don't have money. So we've got to figure out ways to keep people doing what they're doing. And this happens, I'll have we'll work with folks to say, okay, you were running at this level. Let's cut that back. Let's scale back. Let's go down. Let's cut your budget. Like what do we need to do to make sure you're at least still not going to hit a regulator's hit list because you need to stay compliant. So I do think tech has done a lot. AI, I'm so excited about AI. AI is like awesome. are we talking about that next? Because
You can go ahead, keep going to no, go
we,
for it because I want it comes up on every one of my shows, like
I know,
how
right?
you how you and first I love how you just talked about how when your business first started and when people look at compliance as a line item tagged in budget for compliance, and now you've shifted and knowing that even though that still may be the case, you want to show an ROI, you want to be a profit center for whoever is bringing you on board, to whether it's a one person business or a huge company. You want to prove that you can help them make money off it, doing things the right way, which is great. I love how you shifted that
Yeah.
mindset. You
So
kind of had to, right?
remember all of our back in the day in EDU, we had to come up with our cost per starts. I thought I
Yeah.
was done with that, but clearly I am not. How
I
much
love it.
did I help you save on paid search? How much
That,
did I, like,
that's awesome.
how much
That's
traffic
awesome.
did we get back?
You're having so many
So,
conversations on possibly around one nucleus. It's amazing. But like AI is, everybody's obviously talking about it and like how they're incorporating into their daily lives, how they're incorporating into their business. So yeah, like have you started to try to incorporate AI into IntegriShield?
yeah, so we were doing AI before AI was cool. We've been doing it for years, but remember, we called it machine learning.
Right. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So we've always, like, we had to implement AI to automate some of our processes that were giant, because we would have a client come, like a huge client come in with millions of URLs that had to be reviewed. I mean, you can't, I mean, we already had a pretty automated system, but there had to be a way to have the system learn not to do something it shouldn't do again, right? Because I don't want to have to keep optimizing the same rule sets over and over and over again. So we implemented that a long time ago. But then the new AI stuff that's coming out, right? Because it's really just as I'm learning from Arvel and a few other folks in our ecosystem. It was 15, like back in the day, there were like 15 basic AIs, right? And then everybody would build on top of those. Now there's like three, and everybody's building on top of that. So it's really kind of, there's so much noise out there. I'm gonna have to hire somebody for that too, by the way. If anybody
Yes.
listening to this podcast is interested in AI strategy, hit me up.
It's true.
Um,
Every company's gonna have like specialists dedicated
yeah,
and
I need a
staff.
prompt engineer.
There you go.
A new job, a prompt engineer. But yeah, so all of the different things you can layer on top of it, there are so many ways to apply it to, I mean, we're already really good at accuracy, so I was not really like, that's not my thing. But if you think about case management and relationships, there's so much you can do with case management, I think, in AI when we're dealing with sort of how the SaaS, like, because the goal is find it, fix it, right? Find
Right.
it, fix it. Not necessarily take down unless it has to be taken down, but keep the revenue flowing. Find it, fix it. How can you fix it and maintain relationships? Because that's always been one of our things as a company, that we have really good relationships all over the world.
Yeah.
But can AI maintain that for us? I don't know. The question is still there. I'm testing it, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I love the part though that you talked about still having somebody behind it, helping you manage it because, there's the fear out there that AI is going to just take everybody's jobs, but you still need that human, I think, behind what you're trying to accomplish with find it, fix it, and then but the human still can help, manage it and interact because like I said, you want to keep your clients happy, you want to keep business flowing
Mhm.
and yeah, I'm going to follow your story and your journey there, and hopefully you find a hire from the show. Or I'm sure at some of the conferences that you're going to be attending, I'm sure that will be another topic too, where there's
Yeah.
there's there's some folks that are going to try to make expand their career share, which is great. Um, Shifting gears for a sec, my friend, I one of the cool things about going to a really cool dinner, CEO dinner that Adam Young put together and lead generation world. That dinner was amazing. First of all, we ate till like 11 o'clock at
Oh
night,
my Lord.
but
So much food.
um, you shared with me a story like I was taken back. I mean, and I know this is hard. but I will tell you, I've been to, I don't know, countless business dinners, 20, I don't know, 2000, I don't know, something like that. And your story was one of the best stories I've ever heard in my life. Like um, you had shared with me and the folks that were sitting near us, I think Pooja and a couple other folks, that in 2015 your sister tragically passed away, and and she had six children, and you took over, um, you know, essentially becoming their mom, and how and helping raise them. Like, and you told me that was one of the best decisions ever in your life. Like, how did you do that, and how you keep, how were you able to just still do that and run, IntegriShield?
So much to the dismay, I suppose, of my brother-in-law, I did do that. So yeah, and thank you for asking, because I love talking about Holly. Her name is Holly. She died of leukemia. She was
Oh,
39, and it will be 8 years this next week. Um, we were best friends. So I I was with her, right? Her husband was a pilot, so I was with her a lot. And with the kids, so I already had sort of a comfort level of just being always with them, so that was not difficult. Um, but yeah, long story short, I got in my car to leave. And I know you know Greg and Daryl from Grag at the
yeah,
time. They because they're also owners of IntegriShield,
yeah,
and they, thank goodness it was them, right? Because I literally sat in the car for hours, couldn't drive away. And they are the best mentors, because they knew exactly what I needed when I needed it, let me do what I need to do. Because not only was I not coming back home, I was not going to come back to the office, right, for a very long years.
yeah,
And so, yeah, because they lived in another city, so I stayed there, worked remote, and but they knew how to motivate me. They knew how to get me to get back on track, right? So they were like, okay, do what you need to do, and then we're going to help you get back, into it and figure it out. So it was remote before remote was cool, I guess, too. But um, yeah, so love them like family. I'm definitely so but having I can't have children, and I was never gonna have children. So I
yeah,
went from 0 to 6 in a day, but it quite literally is just, I mean, it's the best thing that I've ever done. It changed. I wouldn't be here talking to you. I wouldn't have done LinkUnite. I don't know, it changed my outlook on life quite a bit. How I treat my clients, how I
yeah,
treat I mean, I think I've always been an honest person, and always been so, like, the greater good. But there's just a level of transparency that I believe in now, and there's
yeah,
like empathy that I think that people should have, and um, the Link Unite stuff that we'll probably talk about. I don't think I would have ever done that, but I created an entire tribe of women in the new city that I was living in with the kids, that they loved my kids as much as I did. And they're not my kids, but they are my kids, if you know what I mean.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's just the best thing. The way I run this business, the way I treat my employee, everything changed just because I had those kids, and probably because of what happened to Holly. But yeah, it's the bond I have with them is just unbelievable. And it was clearly a godsend in my life. I needed it really bad.
Oh man, I know I never met Holly, but she sounds like an amazing
Well,
person,
six
and I'm
kids, right? She loved
yeah,
children.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
know she's probably really looking down on you, and just super proud of you for what you've accomplished, and what, like you said, the things that you did to change the way you live today and interact with and interact with everyone, your staff, them, the kids, other women. It. I just I I'm super proud to be your friend now, and like just to share your story. It's amazing to be able to, and to have great partners. Like you mentioned, those guys are awesome, and I think it's it's a super special story that probably not many people in our space had ever heard. So I'm glad that you were open to sharing it here, because it's just a testament to your character and who you are. And That's just I'm still taken back from it, and I'm also taken back uh, on the more comedy for me is you can toggle between farm life and city life because I'm a city boy. I grew up in the city in suburbs. I and you were also talking about farming at dinner, which um, which is just amazing to me too. Like, so what's your tie to like? I guess is this a Kansas City thing? I don't know. Tell me.
So I'm a city girl, and I hope my family sees this because I'm going to get all kinds of crap now for it. I am the one person in the family that I absolutely hate bugs. I hate all things. I hate tall grass that I have snakes in it. I hate all the things. I don't want to touch the fish or put the worm on the hook, like I'll use the rubber ones. But yeah, so there's definitely some farm scenarios going on because I didn't grow up on the farm during the school year, but I was there on the summers. We spent all our holidays there. It's been my family forever. And my brother and my parents are still there. But yeah, so we take the kids there. They
Amazing.
love to go fishing, do all the things. It's about 3 hours away, so it's not too bad. If I don't have to get on a plane, it's a totally okay trip.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, farming, but I would definitely, yeah, my kids call me bougie, and now all my friends call me bougie, which I love the new word that we get to. So basically stuck up, but it's a better word. Like
Yes, my kids use that
I
too.
would rather glamp than camp, and I would rather have, a nice hotel room with room service.
I know it. I'm with you. I love it. I love it.
But yes,
I
we do have a farm, and it is not like you see in the movies. It is a farm. It is dirty. It is buggy, and there are animals that are not safe. So,
Oh my goodness.
but yeah, if you ever need a place to hunt, you can also hit me up. We have tons of
Oh my
farm,
goodness. Yeah, I remember you
tons of
saying that.
fishing, tons of farmland. I mean, we have there the county where our farm is. Like we've had like Rascal Flats has gone hunting up there, and yeah, we have all kinds of people come up there to hunt.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, if I come out, maybe I'll take you up on that because I've never done it before.
Absolutely.
So
My husband's a game warden. He will take
I'm
you. He'll make sure you follow the law. I don't know what I did. Yeah.
your your story is amazing, my friend.
It's just,
It really
it's
is.
weird like me.
Yeah, hey, we're all a little weird.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's what makes us unique and special. And um, you also have a strong passion for challenges that women face in the market, in our space, but just in general out there. I'm fortunate enough to be on the LinkUnite advisory board with you, and we're trying to look at all different ways that we can try to help uh, build more awareness to some of the challenges out there. But what really we all have our different motivations per se, but I think what you also just mentioned too about things that changed your life from 2015 on. But what what do you think is some areas that's standing out for you right now?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for being on the advisory board.
Yeah,
I know Amanda and Sarah, hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn by saying this, but because we need to make moves, right? And we
yeah,
need to make sure that women are moving forward. It does take all of our male partners to help us do that. And so we
100%.
absolutely love that there are so many businesses and folks like you that are supporting the mission. Um, the the big thing, and I thought about it last night, like what, it's not like we have forever. So like what one thing am I kind of doing right now? And
Yeah,
for me on the LinkUnite side and the women's side, because I'm part of women's groups in some other ecosystems as well. But on the LinkUnite side, really needing women to show up because we're finally getting folks to open doors, right? They're just standing there, doors wide open, everybody's, saying, come on in, have a seat at the table. Um, but I think there's still that sort of mindset with some women still, unfortunately, that they're not good enough or they're not smart enough and they just don't realize that they are. So getting them to actually show up is, I think, what I'm kind of focused on right now. Whether that's showing up for, a reception and networking or whatever it is, show up for other women. be there, be on social media for other women, give them, feedback, give them the claps when they do something good. So just showing up. I can't remember her name, but I was listening to this video recently, and there was a woman talking that she had to speak for 10 minutes in between Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. And she said, they only gave me 10 minutes. I don't know why I couldn't have had 12. And then I started to unravel that, and I'm like, she knew she was the smartest one in the room. It wasn't them. They have the hype, right? Because they've
Yeah,
got press, but she was the smartest one in the room. Um, and so just showing up, being in the room, that's to me what women, I think I really would like to get women to start doing that. Just show up.
I love it. I love it. That's your one liner right there too. Because I am I I think you're right. Like there's so many different angles. Like I said, we could talk about all the challenges, but you picking that one I think is great and highlighting it. And I know, speaking of showing up, you're doing like a session at affiliate summit, right? That's
Mhm.
encouraging more to show up, right? Because it's talk about that a little bit. I think it's with you and Beth Kahn, and there's somebody else
Yep,
to
Beth Kahn, founder of Anura, and
yeah.
Leanne Johnstone, the founder of now Affiverse or Elevate
Yes.
Summit. So, um, yeah, we're doing our first LinkUnite series, and we're going to be talking about not just what we do, but how we got here. So I think that's going to be so much fun, and there will be, I think, up to 100 women are going to be able to participate,
Wow.
and they can ask us anything. So,
Yeah.
if you want to talk, if you need help, one of my other things is talking about finances. Women are so afraid to talk about money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. But like, I hear all the time people don't know how to look at mergers and acquisitions. People don't know how to look at what capital they might go after. So, and only like 2% of capital goes to women. And I swear it's because we don't like to talk about money.
Yeah.
So just getting those conversations going and answering the questions,
That's
and
awesome.
really, if they're new to the space, let's get you networked. And if you're not new to the space, but you need help, getting to the next level, what can we do to help? So yeah, really excited. It's July 30th in New York, ASE. It's on the
Yeah.
app. Go
Talk
sign up.
about talk about showing up. New York City, like that's
Show
it.
up.
And this is a place to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like when I don't know about you, when I show up in New York, I just get that, like the butterflies, that you just feel that extra juice, from being there. And I won't be there, unfortunately, but I am super excited for all the folks that can attend the event. Show up. Definitely
Show up.
show up. You will benefit from these three powerful women. I can promise you that. They've all had tremendous careers, and still, they're still got much more ahead of them. For their success. So you'll learn a lot. I promise you that. Um, Before we go, like what? Any other? You talked a lot about what you're focusing on now. Any other areas? I know you're also a big part of Reach and CCC. What other areas should we be paying attention to for the future of performance marketing? Um, for the rest of this year, for the next couple of years, for that matter. Anything that stands out for you that you want to share?
Yeah, so the trend I'm seeing right now, and I've been talking to a lot of folks about this, is I'm really starting to finally see people go back to relationships with their partners versus just that sort of transactional thing that we were doing for so long. Remember, we'd have a booth and you'd walk by like, here's a card with my CPL. So not none of that anymore, right? So vetting your partners, getting to know them, having relationships with them. And from a compliance perspective, I think that's huge because now you know who you work with.
Right.
And so I'm starting to see performance marketing really go back to the relationship aspect, which I think is fantastic, um, versus just sort of randomly bringing on thousands of partners and you don't even know who they are. So, yeah, that's one thing I'm really excited about.
Like you
And
said,
I have to plug Elevate Summit for Leanne. Okay. So,
Oh, please go ahead. Yeah, please.
Elevate Summit's a virtual event that's going on in July 18th and 19th. going to be so good. And if you're watching this and you're in the US, this is going to give you opportunities internationally. Lee, if you are not
Oh
a
wow.
super fan of Leanne Johnstone, you really should be a super fan of Leanne Johnstone. She's been around forever. She is the OG. She knows everyone, and her summit is going to be fantastic.
You know, Leanne, I don't know. I know of Leanne, but we've never spent any time together. I would like to get to chatting with her about this as well. So I'm going to learn more about. Sounds like cool, especially because I know a lot of businesses want to aspire to do more outside of the U.S.
Yeah, so
So
many opportunities, and they're
that's a
looking
good
to come
little
to the
teaser.
US. So it's both
Yeah,
ways, right? We get hit up all the time for introductions, both directions. So yeah, definitely attend.
awesome. Yeah, and I'll be at LeadsCon and Contact.io. There's a lot of shows the second half of the year too, so
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. Hopefully, I'll get to see you there, my friend. If not, I'm overdue booked for a trip to Kansas City.
Come get some barbecue
Yeah, no, you.
during football season.
I know. Well, that's it. If the I'm manifesting a Ravens Chiefs playoff game. I where sadly will fall misery again to another loss to Mahomes and Kelsey. Uh, I want to thank you so much for sharing all of your stories here today. Like it's just you got we could go on for hours, like just talk about the good old days and but I
Mhm.
think you you're really a pivotal player in for so many different areas of success in our space and I hope that folks really see that by watching our show today and I um I just really appreciate you coming on, Gayla, and sharing your story.
Well, thank you for having me. This was really fun. I really appreciate it. So much fun.
Yeah. And where can people thank you. Yeah, where can people find get, LinkedIn's obviously great always. They can go to your site, right? IntegriShield.
Yep, go to
Uh
integrishield.com. It's hard to spell, but just Google it.
good. Good. Well, follow Gayla. I promise you she shares some good content on LinkedIn. There's a lot of the LinkUnite stuff, a lot of the compliance stuff within reach or consumer consent, but just a lot of good information out there.
A lot of
Uh
news. If you don't like having to
yes.
do your morning reading, you can just hit up my stuff. It'll have all the verticals, all the things to be
Awesome.
concerned about.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good luck at ASE
Thank
and
you.
thank you again. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks.